Hello, everyone. This is Tim Silton. I'm president of the Montessori Foundation, and this is Finding the Perfect Match, our weekly webinar for school leaders on anything having to do with building enrollment, marketing, advertising, dealing with the psychology of parents, dealing with upset parents, the whole thing of building the right enrollment and keeping people happy and enrolled at your school, whether you are in Africa, Asia, Australia, United States, Canada, wherever you are. People are people. So we're really thrilled that you're here. With me is my dear friend and colleague, Clint Lausch. Clint is from the company called Ames, which is a marketing company that I've grown very fond of. He is working very closely with my friend um, Rob Amos from Montessori Compass. He has Montessori Grow Suite, and he also has a program that he and I do together with the Montessori Foundation called the Montessori Enrollment Growth Accelerator. Clint, anything you want to share before we get rolling?
That was a lot. We're doing a lot these days. No, it's exciting. And what I put in the chat, by the way, is the Family Alliance link. And to me, we talked about that towards the end. I think it's applicable for everybody here, for your school and for your families as well. So we're really excited about that launching here, which that just launched as well. Or 2.0. I know you've been doing the Family Alliance for many years, but then we have a 2.0 version now. So maybe towards the end we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. And again, we encourage you to set up a free account. You don't even have to put in a credit card with a coupon and see if you don't love it. What we ask in return is please send me your comments. I'd love to hear from you, whether you think this is something your parents will like, not like. We do intend to communicate with your parents at least twice a week with a newsletter and, feature of the week that you need to explore. Because the goal is so it's not out of mind, out of sight. We want to really remind them how to be involved, how to be positive, how to prepare for the new year, why they need to stay enrolled in your school, all those good things. Hello, Shelley. How are you? Good to see you, my friend.
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so
Great. All right. So we're about ready to get going. And Clint, if you would, as new people come in, if you would paste into the chat the coupon and the information of the Family Alliance. And then, as you said at
We'll
the
do.
end, we will talk more about it. I should also mention that on Thursday at the same time, Clint and I will be running with Dr. Lindsay Pollock our weekly Independent School Leaders Forum, which is for Montessori and non-Montessori schools, as is this one. Um, Even though we are the Montessori Foundation, we speak Reggio Emilio and traditional school and Catholic school, whatever. Um, the bottom line is on Thursday, we're going to be talking about a new uh, group that we're starting called the Circle, which may sound like a cult. I don't know if you can hear my dog. I got a little Russian toy terrier who's being crazy. Come here, you. Yeah, I'm here, you. Say hello to everyone. This is Elmo. This is Elmo. Hello, Elmo. Um, anyway, hopefully Zoom is filtering his barks out because he can be very barky. And I've got Russian wolfhounds at the glass door out there just trying to get in. I love it. So easy to run these things here. Um, Bottom line is, we'll be telling you about the circle on Thursday, and we encourage you, if you would like to know more about a community of shared professional growth, that is the circle. And you may want to take a look at having your school join the circle. Doesn't mean you have to leave AMS, AMI, or any other group. It's just an affordable group that provides you with a great deal of support that you may not be getting from other people. Um, Before I get started, anyone have any comments or questions? Because again, this is a conversation. Anyone can unmute anytime. Okay, no one's jumping in. So what I will do is I will share somewheres. Huh. Let me find the sharing button. Here it is. And I will find my presentation somewheres here. Where is it? I'll just share my desktop. That should do it. Hmm. Hold on a second. I am not, this should do it. All right. And now I'm going to get my PowerPoint up and we'll take you through today's topic. Okay. Can everyone see that all right? Glad you see it.
Yeah, Rose was mute. Yeah, you're good.
Good. Okay, well, today's topic is why families hesitate. And Clint, I know that for years you worked with independent school management. There's a big issue in the general independent school world because we have lots of families who approach us. They seem eager to enroll. They attend open houses. They actually apply. They send transcripts. Next thing we know, we don't hear from them anymore. It's kind of like being in college and dating someone and they ghost you. So we all have it, and we just want to understand the psychology of what's going on. So families hesitate for a lot of reasons. There are emotional barriers, and they may appreciate it. Now, it says they appreciate Montessori. I don't care if you're Montessori or parochial or Jewish days, it doesn't matter. It seems like they really like who you are, but they hesitate. And there are a lot of reasons why they hesitate. And they're not actually rejecting the idea necessarily, but they're grappling with feelings of doubt, indecision. A lot of times it's worry about, can we really afford this? Do we really want this burden? Once we start down this road, is it going to be all right? And the bottom line is that the more you can acknowledge these hesitations, thinking about it from the point of view of how you handle people who approach you, who attend open houses, come in to meet you, the more you understand what's going on for them, the more likely you are to be able to help them to process through it. So people disappear. They show up, they hang around, and you think they're going to enroll, and then you offer them enrollment and they don't follow through. And they basically say, oh, yeah, we're going to apply, but they just never apply. And unless you have enough interactions with them to develop a relationship, or unless you understand that many people will hesitate and possibly disappear from the enrollment process, possibly because they've been dating 3 or 4 schools and they can only enroll in one, but they're not going to tell you that they're looking at other schools. So again, whether it's the public schools or another Montessori school or another private school, it is quite common for parents to, again, seem like they're about to enroll. Maybe they actually do enroll. This is very upsetting in my life. They actually enroll and then they don't pay their deposit. Or they enroll and they say, we've changed our mind. Please send me my first tuition payment back. Or what do you mean you're charging me for the first month's tuition? I'd never even attended the school. Anyone ever have anything like that happen? Okay, no one responds. So we have common misperceptions. I think, again, understanding the deeper reasons why family hesitate to enroll their children helps. They're basically thinking about, it's because I'm worried about money. I'm worried about the timing. I don't know if I can actually make it to that campus across town every day. Or it could be that, they can't choose between you and some other school. They're just frozen in time. They just can't decide. The bottom line is they hesitate long enough. They say, well, I can't enroll now. I've blown it. So I guess I'll think about for next year. And the truth is, there are a lot of underlying emotional concerns that drive these decisions. And what we want to do is, again, remember that what it takes to recruit families is twofold things. The first is you need to be very clear about who you are, and you need to be communicating to your parents what it is they would find if they choose you. The second, and hopefully that helps them to decide, are you the right fit for them? The other thing is you have to develop a serious relationship with these people. It is not about a 1 hour meeting. It is about multiple connections between them and you from the first phone call or the first email. So, for example, some of you know me well enough that you may recall the first time you ever called, or the first time you ever filled out a form, or the first time you ever sent an email. If I can, and I usually can, I will typically call you back within an hour. And people often are shocked that the foundation's phones are answered by leaders in the Montessori community or the leader of the organization, that I would care enough to respond to them, to actually want to hear what they have to say, and that I'm not trying to twist their arm to enroll in our school, but rather I'm trying to help them decide, are we the right fit for them and their family? We want to, again, understand hesitation because a lot of the people who are hanging around our schools are really struggling. I mean, I don't know what you're charging a month or a year, but the odds are it's big enough that it is a serious investment of money for a lot of these families, especially if they have two or more children. So we used to say that the cost of private school tuition should be about the cost of a basic Chevrolet. Now, I don't know that today the cost is really that, but if your tuition is $1,500, I'll bet you that that may be more than the monthly tuition on a 60-month or 72-month note to buy a Chevrolet. Am I wrong? I mean, think about it. It's really hard for people to decide, yeah, I'm going to do this. This makes sense. I'm going to spend as much on your private school as I would normally spend on my house payment, or at least my car payment, and probably more. So there are a lot of reasons. It could be they feel guilty because they feel like they should take care of their child and not have someone else take care of them, or they're hesitant about, do I really want to send my child to any school as opposed to homeschooling them myself? There are all kinds of reasons why people hesitate. There are also reasons why people come, which again may be all the wrong reasons. They may be there because their sister sends her kid to your school. They may be there because they pass by your school every day. They may be there because they hear that Montessori kids are guaranteed admission into the gifted and talented schools in town. Who knows why they're coming to you? The bottom line is they are all trying to solve a problem. And the question is, what problem are they trying to solve and what would cause them to hesitate? I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and see if I can get you guys to open up your mic and let's talk. Why do people come to you? And why do you think people disappear? What do you think's going on here?
Well, in our area in Washington, D.C., they want to be close to the school. That's what some people tell me. We
So
might next door.
traffic's an issue? Okay. Traffic must be a lot worse than when I lived there. Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So they want to be close to you.
Well, they want to be close to the school, right, that they choose.
Yeah. Okay. I remember the days when we moved from near Walter Reed Army Hospital out to Upper Montgomery County, Maryland, and people were driving, 15 miles to get there. We used to have those, I think they still have the school buses going all around Chevy Chase, Bethesda, downtown Washington, Georgetown, Hyattsville. Craziness. I don't know if that goes on anymore. Anyone else? Why do people choose you? Susan. My favorite 15 years in admissions with a mom with 4 kids. She said she did everything. The dad negotiated with the head of school for a discount. The contracts were written and then they backed out. Okay. Then she called the next year and wanted to start all over. Wanted the entire process to be repeated. I told her no. I get the sense that the occasional family just likes to shop and pretend they're switching to a private school. I've had this happen with other families with multiple kids. It's like people that go to open houses of really expensive houses in real estate. They're just trying on for size. What would it feel like if I could afford this with 4 kids? Hi, Devika. How are you? Glad to have you, my friend. So the question I'm asking is, why do people choose you and why do they back out? Sonia has written, a lot of the times we just get the answer that they decided to go to another route. Yep. I mean, they don't want to have a long conversation with you. Dee, you had said before we started that you thought this was an important topic. Dee, why did you think this was an important topic?
Well, because it's something you deal with all the time and, enrollment process, whether it's year round or a limited time. Parents have many reasons to make decisions, but a lot of it is both schedule and location. And that's above anything. But a lot of people come to us because we're in a very residential neighborhood, and a lot of people have come here and we've been in place for 40 years. So people find us and it's word of mouth. And a lot of it is just neighborhood. I don't advertise a lot.
You're in a suburban neighborhood outside of Seattle, right?
We're actually in Seattle, but Seattle's several hills. We're in Magnolia, so it's a kind of peninsula west of Queen Anne, west of the downtown.
So a community-based school that becomes something of a tradition, and neighbors are all going to school, and there's a feeling of, we want something maybe a little better or different than the public schools, at least when the kids are little, if not all the way through. And it becomes, there's a stickiness of relationships.
Well, and also there's a lot of more recent options like the Bezos Academies have either free or sliding scale for some of their locations. And also the Seattle preschool program is another free or sliding scale being run by a department in Seattle government, but it's just for 4 and 5-year-olds, not 3-year-olds. And so those are the kind of programs that can kind of decapitate your enrollment, taking some of the older children away. So, different issues for different ages. We get a lot of people applying when their kids are 2 years old and they really want to start then, but we don't have a 2-year-old class. So I keep wanting to think of how I can keep them engaged for another year until they start.
So if I hear you correctly, Dee, what you were saying is you get families that come in with the 2-year-old program and then they leave at 3 or 4?
No, they're 2, they're not old enough yet. And so, I do communicate with them, but I don't have a place for their 2-year-olds to be. 2.5, yes. So, we used to do like it had to be 2.5 at the beginning of the school year, but now, especially for younger siblings, we've allowed some of them to start mid-year at 2.5, and that occasionally that's fine. We just can't, start 2.5-year-olds all the time.
Okay. Hello, Heather. How are you? Good to see you. So again, anyone have anything else you want to share or ask? We're talking about why families go through the admissions process and then evaporate. They just disappear. Ronnie, reputation. They want choices, maybe a stepping stone for high school, private independent schools. You're in Vancouver and we are 52 years old. Which school are you? And 52 years old with preschool, elementary in our 10 classroom school. They also come as we were the first Montessori school in Vancouver proper. However, parents are wanting longer days for preschool children, not just half day. It's whole different licensing in BC, British Columbia for that. That's an interesting issue. So if I understand correctly, Ronnie, if you were to run full day, you'd need to change your licensing and your Vancouver Montessori school. Good to have you, my friend. Hello, Funky. How are you? How's everything up in Fort McMurray, right?
Fort McMurray, I'm good. It's good to hear you and see you again.
Good to see you. Say hi to Patricia. And how's Terrence?
They're good. Patricia is actually in the room with me.
Hi,
She
Tim.
came in
How
for
are
a
you?
meeting. I made
Hi,
her
Patricia.
stay.
Good to talk to you.
Yes,
All right.
I have a question. So actually, this meeting is timely. We are our focus this year is to make sure we up our enrollment as much as possible. Now we all know. I mean, we've branded with the Montessori advantage and talk about the sizes of classroom and things like that. I'm also still looking. So this morning, I'm really passionate about this topic, and thank you so much. I'm looking for other selling points. Our community is known to have people who earn a lot of money,
Yeah.
and they still go cheap. So, um, I mean, Abada generally is facing a lot of problem with the size of the classroom, while we are about half of what the average classroom is. So we already know that. So we're looking to learn a bit more, get
Yeah.
more nuggets from you guys. Thank you.
So my advice to everyone, I don't care what you're selling, whether it's cars or boats or your synagogue, whatever school is, what you're selling is not Montessori. What you're selling is how can you change the life of the family? What are you going to do for them? How will you make their life easier, better? How will they feel better about life? Anything at all having to do with that. And everyone has their own unique thing. For example, in Ronnie's case, you in Vancouver Montessori School, you're running a half-day preschool program. In general, most Montessori schools are running at least a 6 to 8 hour program, if not something that goes even longer, what we would call a family friendly Montessori school that is available from the moment the working parent needs to drop a child off until they get off work and they can pick the child off. So for a lot of people, that's what we're selling. But again, even that is a commodity. Any daycare center can do that. So the question is, how will you change the life of that family? What are the benefits? And so it's tricky. We have to figure out, how do we develop a relationship? What is it these people will respond to? How can they hear it and understand it? And as you are all saying, how do you compete with free?
Mhm.
It's really, really tough to compete with free.
Yeah, it is.
Hi, Joyce Hunt. How are you? Good to see you, my friend. All right. So, anyone else have anything you want to share before we go on in the slideshow? You're welcome, Funky. I appreciate it. All right. Let me go back and I'll continue on. PowerPoint. Let me get back to
Why families hesitate.
okay. So again, people have hesitations, and I think one of the things you learn if you ever study salesmanship is you want to think about what are all the objections that people can come up with for why will they not do what you have in mind. And again, you're not trying to change people, you're just trying to understand people. So one of the ways of understanding it is the right person will actually choose you if you treat them in the right way, which is all about the customer experience. Again, if you go in a restaurant and the waitresses are rude, I don't care how good the food is, if people feel unseen, if they feel unwelcome, if they feel that they're being looked down on, or if they're ignored, I mean, just think about a restaurant where you sit and they don't even bring you water, they don't bring you bread, they don't bring you your entrees. You're sitting, while they're sitting there talking to other people or sitting there talking to each other, the waiters. That's not going to come down well. So it's all about relationship. But you also have to understand that not everyone with whom you meet is going to want to have a relationship with you. That's number one. And number
Mhm.
two, not everyone who has a relationship actually wants to buy what you have on offer. So, what we're trying to do is figure out how do we attract the right people and how do we not get frustrated with these people that just disappear and ghost us, because it will happen.
Mhm.
So, understanding hesitation, one of the things that will cause hesitation is lack of clarity. And it could be not understanding Montessori, it could also be not understanding your school. So, for example, if your enrollment is they apply, if you choose to offer them admission, they are committed for the year. And whether they lose their job or move out of town or whatever, they read a contract that says you agree to pay for the entire year, no matter what, which, by the way, is what I would recommend from your end. That lack of clarity may cause people to freeze. They may feel, wait a minute, what if my kid doesn't like school? What if I don't like the school? What if I don't like the kid's teacher? What if Montessori is not what I think it is? And they'll sit there and say, I don't think so. I'm not willing to pull the plug on this one. Another thing is, do they really think the child will fit? A lot of parents worry, does my child need more structure? Does my child need more discipline? Does my child need a textbook? Is he going to fritter his time away? And they can worry about whether Montessori will be a giant waste of time and money. And then finally, risk perception. And by the way, these are just three examples of what could cause hesitation. There are lots of other things that could do it, but they may be worried about trying something new. So, how do we build confidence? Because what we want to do is try to develop a relationship with a family that causes them to feel more and more these are the people that I want in my life. These are the people who I want to have helping me raise my child. So people often feel uncertain about the choices they're making, especially when it comes to their kids, especially when it comes to the choice of school or childcare. So, what we want to do is foster confidence through communication and interactions that really give people a feeling that you're the real deal. You are not just blowing smoke at them, you're not just air kissing, you're not just telling them what you think they want to hear. The bottom line is you want people to feel they can trust you, that you want what's best for them, best for their child, and they understand you're going to take care of yourself, but they want to know that you've got integrity. So, what we're doing is guiding parents through trying to understand what is it that we're doing for them, the value of Montessori. And again, the value of Montessori can only be understood by a parent in one way. How is my child going to have a better life because of you? And it's really emotional. It is not about facts and figures. It's absolutely gut level emotion.
Mhm.
If you can alleviate their fears, turn their hesitation into commitment, you're going to ensure that families feel secure in their educational decision. Let me stop again for a minute and see if any of you have anything you want to share. Kathy Conlon, how are you? See you joined us. Good to see you, friend.
Tim,
Heather,
hi. Our Montessori school is a bit more relaxed version of Montessori. We do include enrichment activities as part of the program. That seems to help. We have a lot of family events, which we tell parents about and invite them to join us. Um, the other thing is that I feel um, money, we talked about money being, an issue. Free is hard to beat. Um, Parents today don't seem to be as keen on being told what to do. The whole idea of us promoting the Montessori way of life, I kind of I find that that's something that you kind of have to do after. You kind of have to get them into the school and then sell them on the Montessori actually when they're in the school. And I know that sounds crazy because we're talking about people who hesitate, but the just like any business, you've got to get somebody in the door and they've got to try it. That's a big part of it. And certainly testaments from friends and neighbors and people. I guess everybody does that, right? You get reviews and all of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because that seems to be very important to people too. They're just not. It's a very. I feel that the parents today are quite different, and we've talked about this before too.
Mm-hmm. We have.
They are. They don't. There's not a sense of loyalty. They don't commit to stay. As long as you serve their purpose, they're fine. But the minute something better comes along, away they go. So
Mhm.
it's a much tougher game for sure.
Well, one way to think, go ahead. Oh, sorry, it's my echo. One way to think of it is there still are parents that think differently. They're
Mhm.
still out there. Just as, men aren't what they used to be, women aren't whatever. Those kinds of truisms are generally true to a degree in the sense that there are some people or a greater number of people who behave that way. But that doesn't mean you couldn't potentially seek out those families who really are your perfect match, who think that old-fashioned way of, I actually want this for my family. I want to be part of this kind of relationship. And they are there. It's all about knowing who your ideal customer is. And, Heather, as you said, you got to get them in the door. You got to keep the money flowing in. That's absolutely
Mhm.
true. So the
Mhm.
question is, how do we, to what extent can we one, make sure that the number of families that want into our school are maximum for our market? That's why we advertise. That's, whether it's word of mouth, whether it's billboards, whether it's TV ads, whatever you do, you have to really work to make sure that there's more people that know about you and want in than you have capacity for. That's the ideal. I
Yes,
can't,
wouldn't that be
can't
great?
Oh, no, no, it's absolutely possible. What
Yeah,
most
yeah.
people don't realize, it's all a factor of intelligence, repetition, and money. In other words, a way of thinking of it is if you spend $1,000 a month that you think you can't afford, but it brings in $5,000 a month, you have made a wise investment. And in general, most of our schools are not putting the kind of money and energy into marketing because they're
Yes,
assuming it's all word of mouth.
yes, yes. You have to spend you have to spend money to make money.
Yeah. And the point is, there in today's culture, you're absolutely right. Today's culture, people tend to read little. They want quick answers. They tend
Mhm.
not to be loyal. I mean, we talk a lot about Gen Z as employees. They don't generally plan to stay with the same employer for a career. They're flitting around from thing to thing to thing. It's all true. I mean, people are waiting longer to get married. They're waiting longer to have children. All of this is true. On the other hand, you need to think about, what do you have in mind? What do you want in your school? What do you want in your life? And where could you find people like that? And part of what we're talking about today is those people that are drifting in and out of our orbit who seem like they're going to buy. They seem like they want it, but in reality, they just don't know what they want, which is what we're
Yeah.
really talking about today. Before I go back slideshow, anyone else got anything you want to share? Clint, you've been silent today.
Um, I always come at it from the angle, from the marketing angle. right? Because I was spending so much time in the marketing world over the past decade, and but answering this similar question, which is, um, yeah, why don't families reply? How do we get them to commit? And something that I've talked a lot about, and sometimes I feel like a broken record sometimes when we do webinars, and because I say many similar things related to what we're seeing on the data, which is to piggyback off of what everybody said, which are all the different things that you're experiencing. We also know from the data that families are also more than 60% of families are looking at least 3 to 5 schools. Um, we know that more than 60% of families are at least 6 months away or more, upwards of 2 years away from making a decision. So, and then one other marketing statistic that I like to cite is that if you spend any time studying marketing data, there was this traditional number out there that this goes across all marketing, whether you're, buying something from Amazon, or I was choosing a school, which is someone needs to see your quote unquote, your offer, your brand 5 to 7 times before making a
Yes.
decision.
Yes.
That number has escalated depending upon the source you get the data from. On the low end of 11, upwards of 33. So if you put all of that together, you have the following. Families are looking at more schools than ever. They're taking at least 6 months to 2 years to make a decision. And we're all being bombarded, including our families, with advertising. I forget the statistic. I wish I had it in front of me, which was like maybe a decade ago, maybe longer than that. You used to see 5,000 ads a week. Now you see 5,000 ads a day. And so we're all being bombarded by information. And so what does all of that mean? It means, whether somebody had mentioned getting reviews, but ultimately there's this journey that families go through, the research process before they ever come on campus or talk to somebody at the school, that our job, your job as heads of school, as marketers, admission directors, whatever your role is, it's kind of everybody's job to answer the questions that are going on in parents' minds. Right. So, Tim, you brought up all those questions that, do I need more structure? Do I want textbooks? Like, if they're not asking you that, that's still, we know that those are the questions going on in their mind. So that's where the marketing can come in, whether it's on your website, whether it's in a video, whatever it might be, being able to answer those questions, because now by the time they actually come on campus, this is interesting data from HubSpot. HubSpot came out with data that said by the time you actually talk with somebody, their mind is already 70% made up because of everything that they can learn ahead of time, both from just talking with friends and family, but also reading your reviews, checking out your social media, looking at your website, just looking at your niche.com profile, whatever it might be. There's so much we can gather. So when they come on when they come on campus for a tour, they're just looking for confirmation of everything that they learned. So it's our job to figure out how do we answer those questions that might be going on in their mind, answer the questions, address objections. Because if you don't, they might be getting the wrong information. So that's kind of like my marketing PSA that kind of governs how I look at marketing, and how schools can look at, hey, how do we get these families to engage? Why aren't they engaging? And if we kind of know those foundational elements behind it, it can help shape the things that we're doing to help influence their decision making throughout the process.
Ronnie, you asked what media or what ways can you get people aware of your school and interested in your school in today's world? And I think first off, this is pretty much the same all over the world. Basically, you're most likely to get somewheres if you use an approach where, one, you understand your website is not advertising, it is simply a brochure. It is where you want to pull people in if they want to check you out. And so you want to have good information there. You want it to be easy to read and so forth. So we have a great website, she says. We offer to prospective families class observation. I'm sorry, let me read all of that. Parent-only session with a Montessori guide in a classroom, followed by a meeting with the admin team or a questions register, showing how much we love Montessori for children, all before they register. So my first thought to you, Ronnie, is one, I wouldn't let people register. Let them apply. Just because they want to come in doesn't mean they should get in. The idea is that, they're choosing you, you're choosing them. It's not you're being snotty. It's about trying to find, for the sake of the child, sake of the school, you want everyone to be happy before the child is committed to come to your school. Secondly, you got to make the phone ring. So advertising, I would say, is Google advertising is crucial for the family that knows that they're in the market, they're looking. So they do a search, Montessori schools near me, or preschools near me, or private schools near me, whatever. And you want to come up to the top 3. And that's done by paid Google ads. The second is you want to get people's attention. And you get people's attention in a lot of ways. Some of it is paid, some of it is free. But nothing is really free because it takes time and effort to make it happen. But let's say paid. The typical paid is going to be radio, print, billboards, and most particularly Facebook and Instagram. And by family journey, you want to lead people through this, Clint? You're muted, friend, but you are sharing.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
There we go. Well, you were saying it perfectly, and I thought, yeah, let me throw up this the slide that kind of directly illustrates what you're talking about. So now you already had said Google Ads, which yes, that comes in. So this is just the journey that families go through, which you had said, Tim. Google Ads, yes, essentially Google. By the way, I need to update this because not only when you think about findability and in search, so yes, it could be Google Ads, it could be Google Search. What's the big thing now everybody's using for search? That almost I feel like is replacing Google. Maybe not replacing Google, that's not the right phrase, but
ChatGPT, AI.
there we go. AI search. We now know that now this time last year, AI search was only about 4% of search. That is quickly doubling and tripling now. So instead of families going to Google and typing in things like Montessori schools near me, like that's your typical Google search, or best schools near me, they're going into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you're using, Gemini, and they're typing in, my child is this, and I'm looking for that, and what's the best school within 30 minutes of me that offers these programs, right? It's a full-blown question that they're asking AI, but now the question that's posed to businesses and schools is, how do we get ChatGPT and these AI platforms to recommend you? And there are ways to do that now. So anyway, that just goes into the findability aspect of this. And Tim, I think what you were just describing is also becoming aware that you exist. And why don't I make this a little bit bigger? And so go ahead, Tim. Continue about, there's a lot of different ways to get interest. You had said radio, billboards, it could be paid social media, friends and family, word of mouth. What else do you say?
I think the bottom line is, if you're not paying for it, then it's called guerrilla marketing. And that would be things like belonging to Kiwanis or belonging to the Chamber of Commerce, and showing up and networking with people every week, meeting people through various other civic organizations or community events. I mean, a lot of people will go to farmers markets or to school fairs or various other things, which only happen once or twice a year. And every bit of it matters, but the more you do, the more likely you are to stay full. And the other thing is, if you're doing guerrilla marketing, like putting up the kinds of little signs that realtors put up, open house this Saturday, or come see our school. I mean, there are lots of ways to do neighborhood signs depending on what the local laws are. But somebody's got to be doing it. So you're paying somebody to go to the farmer's market, whether it's you or your children or someone from your staff. So you have to decide how are you doing it. But I personally love the idea of I want them to hear from 360 degrees that this school is really, really interesting. This is the in place to be in our town. And I don't care if your town is Manhattan or if it's small island. This is basic to any good business. And we have to keep in mind whether you anything that is costing more than $100 a month, it's a major decision. So you really got to help your parents overcome their hesitation because they're asking themselves, am I being conned? Is this really what's right for me, for my child? You know, are these people I can trust? Is my child going to come home dirty? Is my child going to come home sick? Is she going to come home full of lice? There are all kinds of things that cause parents to worry. Clint, if you could stop sharing for a minute.
Yep.
But again, I can't go enough. I mean, what I appreciate, Ronnie, you were talking about what Vancouver Montessori does. You were talking about all the different things you offer families before they enroll or before they apply. And I couldn't agree with you more. The idea of a course or an evening, is Montessori right for me? The idea of come sit in the classroom. You may recall my friend. God, I'm going blank for the moment. Trevor Eisler has said, fill the chair. He had a whole campaign about 10 years ago, you may recall. The idea of having an observation chair in every classroom and encouraging every day there's a parent in there observing, and not just the parents of your school. You want parents who are interested in Montessori looking, which can have some security issues. Let's face it. You let a stranger into your building, they may take off with either a pink tower or a pink kid. So we need to ask ourselves, how do we protect ourselves from all the disruption that could occur and make our parents and our teachers feel safe and secure and respected? On the other hand, if we keep being the best kept secret in Chevy Chase, Marlene, that doesn't work. You got to be outrageous. You got to be out there really promoting big time. Now, if you got 100 seats to fill every year, it's a lot different than if you only have 3 kids you can accept. So you got to figure out what's your situation and how many seats do you need to fill, if any, between now and September. And by the way, if you could put into chat, if you're willing, where are you and how many seats do you need to fill? And anything like that, like I need to find 3 infants for my school, or I need to find kindergartners because we've lost all our kindergartners, whatever it is. What's your situation for next year? Joyce is fully enrolled. I love it. That is great. Anyone else? How are things in Salem? How many kids you got to enroll? I think Chastity is still here somewheres. Primary openings, Westminster, Maryland. I know your school, Suzanne. Speaking of which, I'm back in the area if you ever need a hand. I'm down in La Plata in Charles County. Ronnie has 6 elementary classrooms that are filled, and we want 10 more and 10 more preschool. Marlene, you got 15 kids to fill? Wow. We got to work on that. Are you doing Google ads at this point, Facebook ads? You are. Who are you working with there? You're muted. Denise says 10 more toddlers in one campus, but you're full in the second campus. Shelley, remind me where you are.
I'm in Granville, Ohio, Central Ohio.
Uh-huh. And
And so
how's your enrollment doing?
So we are toddler through high school, and our early childhood program fills up, and we have a wait list. And school age, we have spaces that we need to fill. The only school age classroom that's close to being full is middle school, but the rest we need some kiddos in the seats.
And who are you working with to recruit your kids?
Um, my assistant head of school is our marketing and communications director. So we just had a big community event. It's our big fundraiser. We shifted from a gala and auction black tie sort of event, and we do more of a family fun fair, and we invite community partners. Um, and that we do radio ads, and we had a great response. We last year, this is the third year we've done it. Last year we had about 300 people come. This year we had about 450. And so hopefully some of those will translate into enrollment.
Hmm. Well, I think that first off, I really like radio ads. I think that these open houses, so you're describing, if you ever need a hand, again, there are a number of agencies out there. Foundation is now doing this too, thanks to Clint. So we have the Montessori Enrollment Accelerator Program, right, Clint?
That's correct.
And so we help you with your Google ads, your Facebook ads, your automated marketing, messaging, and all that good stuff. There's a platform for reputation enhancement and all sorts of cool things that you can learn about. Anyway, you want to learn more about that? I know Clint would be happy to help. We are getting close to the end, and Clint, if you could paste in again the information about the Montessori Family Alliance. One of the things that I know is that these kids can never be replaced. And Shelley, I really appreciate that you go up through high school. That's my favorite area. Uh, I know that that's a blessing and a curse. The blessing in that you got more families that come in saying, wow, I don't have to leave. I can stay all the way through. And then they leave before it's time to graduate. So figuring out a way to make that work. By the way, on May, I think it's 28th, I've got the head of the Barry School, which is my alma mater that I ran for 22 years, coming to talk about a new Montessori diploma. You may want to join us on that day. Um, Bottom line is, I think that whenever you can keep a family for 1 year longer, that really matters because when they leave, they tend to take their buddies with them. And so, whatever you can do to get families to come. So the Family Alliance is something we really encourage to look at. It started as Tomorrow's Child, then it grew into a membership of Montessori families, and originally was just like an archive of articles and videos. Now it's so much more. It's AI powered. It will help parents to figure out how to get their kids to eat lettuce, um, how to get them to go to sleep, how to get them to walk the dog, how to redecorate the room for their newborn, all kinds of things you wouldn't believe. So we encourage you, take a look at the link, set up a free account, and whether you're currently a member of the Alliance or not, this is something we're just rolling out this week. And if you're a current member, you just have to let us know and we'll set you up with access immediately. And if you're not a member, take a look and see if this isn't something that you wouldn't want to do. Again, any last words from any of you all before you have to leave?
Tim, becoming a member of the Family Alliance, how do we do that?
The link that you will see, if you click on that, you can set up a free either individual membership or school membership. If you don't like it, you can cancel. Actually, if I remember, Clint, remind me how this works. If they could Joyce set up was that? So it was Heather. Could she set up a school membership under that coupon?
The coupon we had set up for current schools that are already subscribers that we're moving over. For everybody, you can set up a free account. You go through, it'll ask you for a credit card initially, but you can cancel at any time. But you'll get 2 weeks in there for free, either as a parent and or school. And so you can poke around, dig into it for the next couple weeks.
Anyway, the people who've seen it are basically saying this is the coolest thing they've seen in a long time.
So
And
where
there's a
is this
lot
link?
more.
Tim, where's this link? I'm not seeing, I'm not
In the
understanding.
chat.
Oh, it's in the chat. I'll put it again.
Oh, could you do it again? Yes, thank
Yeah.
Yeah,
you.
right there. In the
Okay, I
first.
see it.
The other thing is we're not just going to have, we know that you can have all the best app in the world and parents will forget it's even there. So once they're in there, we're going to be communicating with them every week. And we're going to be sending out all kinds of information, trying to support you. Because one of the things why the foundation does this is we know the best way we can support you is being the other end of the phone line when a parent's upset with you. So they'll call us to complain, and we talk them off the ledge and convince them that it's really okay, that, Montessori works, nothing's perfect. Yes, they're upset with the teacher. Have you talked to the teacher yet? All that good stuff. And Ronnie, we appreciate you too. I've not been to your school in a long time, but I look forward to seeing it again sometime soon.
I think
Shelley,
I've meant, sorry, I think I've mentioned before that we use your book, Tim, Montessori for Families. We're really promoting that as a very important, new families come in, they come in for an open house. We say, take a picture of the cover. This is something that you really want to have and show them a copy of it. So, thank you for doing that. I hope that book's still available.
oh, it is still available, and I really appreciate what you've done. Didn't you create a year-long study guide to that?
No, but I thought you did something like that, didn't you?
Well, it was actually one of my friends did it. I thought it was you,
No, it
but I
wasn't
can share
me.
with anyone who wants it. The other
Oh, I'd
thing I
like to
would
see
share with
that.
them,
Yeah.
send me an email. I'll send it to you a little bit later.
Okay. What's it called again?
It's just a study guide for Montessori for every family. It's a
Montessori
year-long
study
study
guide.
guide.
Okay.
The other book
Tim.
you ought to share with the parents is How to Raise an Amazing Child.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of parents actually learned about us through that book. And then there's the Montessori Way and Montessori 101. Are all really good books for parents. But bottom line is a lot of this stuff is being built into the Family Alliance. But more importantly, again, parents today, anything that's bigger than 100 words, they don't want to read.
Yeah,
So,
you're lucky
but
to get 100.
yeah, we're focusing on winning their attention and getting them. For example, you probably know Tiny Cabin Montessori.
No, I don't know.
If
That's
you,
okay.
well, if you don't, you will. So
Okay.
she's somebody out in the Seattle area, uh, D. Hirsch's area. Um, it's Brianna Rydick. She's got a little school out there, but she's a very gifted marketer, and she
Hmm.
produces the funniest videos you wouldn't believe. Um, anyway, she's one of our charter members, and she's going to be producing lots of content for the Family Alliance that we'll be firing out to people because it's the kind of stuff they can be in line at CVS and look at it and they'll chuckle and say, this is pretty cool. I'm glad I'm part of the Family Alliance.
Thank you, Tim. I'm going to have to go. It's nice to see you again this week. And
Good to see you, Heather.
yeah, I'm not sure if we'll see you Thursday. You're doing something Thursday too, aren't you?
We're introducing the circle, but every
Oh, yeah.
Thursday we have Lindsay Pollock and Clint and I do a webinar for school leaders on topics that are general topics of school leadership, not just marketing, recruitment, retention, building community. We look at all kinds of things. We're introducing the circle this Thursday, and you'll be learning
I
about it from email.
I wanted to let you know that the article that you wrote on CEO being a chief emotional officer, do you remember that?
Yep.
I had a meeting. We have one of the colleges, that trains teachers to come to us. We had a big meeting on mentoring. They had a big conference on mentoring, and I sent your article to them, and they were very interested. And one lady said, I will completely get rid of the idea of a CEO being the executive officer, and now they're going to use your term. So I want you to know that we're working, enjoying your contributions to us. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks. I'm having lots of fun writing books and things like that more and more
Yeah,
these days.
good,
All
good.
right, everyone. It's been
Okay,
good seeing
thank
you
you.
this week.
Yeah,
We
you
look
too.
forward to feedback about the Family Alliance from all of you. Whether you love it or hate it or got questions, it's all good.
Okay,
Bye,
thanks, Tim.
Suzanne. Bye, Denise. Marlene, feel free to call me if I can help you. I think everyone knows my number. If you don't, it's easy to get. Bye, Adele. Adele Bovis, how
See
are
everybody.
you? Adele, we're sending you off to
Oh
Saudi
yeah,
Arabia.
no, hey Tim, I'm good. I just have a class running a thrift shop in the background, so that's why the
Good.
camera's off.
Well, congratulations on being part of the not Saudi Arabia, the Dubai project. I look
Yeah,
forward to working with you there.
great. Thank you. See you later.
Goodbye. All right, everyone, let me stop recording. We will see you next week.